So I want to share my thoughts with you on Donald Trump explicitly ordering Pam Bondi to indict his political opponents. I'm sure you're all aware of this. He put out some tweets a couple days ago, or whatever the fuck you call those things on Truth Social. And there's debate about whether or not he intended to post that or whether he intended it to be a private message to Pam Bondi. Neither thing would surprise me. He's certainly stupid enough to accidentally post a private command to his Attorney General to, flagrantly violate people's rights and to use the Justice Department to prosecute people, whether there's evidence to do so or not, just because he views them as his political opponent. Anyway, you're familiar with that, right? So he's not even hiding it. He is openly calling for the DOJ to prosecute his opponents. And this came in the wake of his firing, or there's debate about that too, whether this U.S. attorney in Virginia resigned first in anticipation of being fired, or, as Trump says, fired him. Since I personally assume that Donald Trump is lying about everything, and since the guy says he resigned, I believe that that's what happened. I think he resigned. Anyway, so Trump forced him out one way or the other because he did not indict Letitia James, because he found no evidence or insufficient evidence to charge her with a crime. And so that's what really set him off. Now I got to fire this guy, and I'm going to, threaten Pam Bondi implicitly with, her being fired if she doesn't indict Letitia James, Adam Schiff, James Comey, and whoever else he wants prosecuted. Now, here's the point I want to make about that. And that is, if these people are now indicted, the first thing that their lawyers are probably going to do is to file a motion to dismiss these indictments on the basis of them being malicious prosecutions. Now, that is a real thing. If you can demonstrate that you are being personally targeted by an unfair and malicious prosecution, then that could be the basis of a dismissal. Now, that's typically a very difficult argument to make, and seldom works. But I can't think of a stronger and more obvious case of malicious prosecution than for the President of the United States to publicly direct his Attorney General to prosecute these people, and to very publicly fire a U.S. attorney for failing to prosecute those people. I mean, it's obvious to everyone what it is. And I think if any of these people are indicted, I think they have a very good chance, a strong argument on malicious prosecution, and a very good chance to have their indictments thrown out by the court before it ever gets to trial. And, Donald Trump does this over and over again. And by the way, if that happens, the defense is going to use Donald Trump's own words against him, his little friggin' posts on Truth Social. They may call this U.S. attorney who was forced out of office as a defense witness, against Trump and everything. But he does this. He's done this over and over, where he's so stupid. He has so little understanding, although he claims to be, a legal expert because he has sued people so many times. He knows nothing about the law. And like, for example, I'll give you another example. If Merrick Garland hadn't been a worthless sack of shit, and if he had appointed a special prosecutor from day one, and the cases against Donald Trump had actually proceeded to trial, as they would have had Merrick Garland appointed Smith on day one, and when Donald Trump got to trial, so much of the evidence that would have been offered in court against him would have been his own statements. The juries would have watched so many videos of Donald Trump incriminating himself. You know, they would show posts from Truth Social in which he incriminated himself. I mean, over and over and over again. You know, it's just a stain on this republic for all time that those trials never happened because of Merrick Garland. And I'm sorry, some of you guys get pissed when I say this. Joe Biden picked Merrick Garland. Joe Biden kept Merrick Garland long after it was obvious that Merrick Garland wasn't doing anything to hold Trump accountable. And I think it's pretty obvious that Biden and Merrick Garland made the conscious decision not to pursue Trump, and they only did so. Merrick Garland only appointed Jack Smith after the January 6th committee held their public hearings and offered all this evidence of Donald Trump's many crimes, that his hand was forced, and he had to appoint a special prosecutor. Anyway, where was I going with this? Anyway, it's a great stain on this country that man was never held accountable. But that's what would have happened. His own words would have been used against him to convict him for his crimes. And the same thing will happen here if any of these people, Adam Schiff, James Comey, Letitia James, maybe others, are indicted. Because Donald Trump's own words prove that these were malicious prosecutions. So anyway, just wanted to point that out. Getting back to my walk. Thanks for watching.